So, have you ever wondered how I like to read my books? No? Tough, because that's what today's video is going to be about. You see, most people, when they begin a book, they like to first read what it says on the back cover to get some kind of idea what the book is going to be about and to see whether they would like it or not. Some people even take a sneak peek at the very last pages of the book just to check that the book doesn't have a bad ending. Mum, I'm talking to you. I find myself on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I don't want to know anything about a book before I start it. The way I see it, the novel, the actual novel, the text, the content, the thing that you're supposed to read is in here. I don't want to read any introductions or forewords or prefaces or anything else that could spoil the events of the book. I want to enjoy the book in its purest form, and anything that the author intended to be a surprise should come to me as a surprise. I don't want to be expecting something to happen just because I've cheated and read somewhere else that this is supposed to happen in the book. Now, this is a two-way contract between me and the author. I will read the book in the way I'm expected to read the book. But in return, I will expect the author to tell me everything I need to know. What the author must do is make it clear to the reader when the book is going to end. You see, in every story, almost without exception, there's going to be this conflict appearing in the beginning, and you know that the story will finish when that conflict has been resolved. And it's up to the author to make it clear what that conflict is, so that you know when the book is going to end, so that even if you don't know what the ending will be like, you get a rough idea of when the ending is going to happen and more generally what the book is going to be about. A few examples. In The Hunt for Red October, you know that the story is going to end either when the submarine reaches the US or when the Russians manage to sink it. In Artemis Fowl, you know that the story is over either when Artemis Fowl wins and gets his gold, or when the fairies win and bring back Holly Short. And even though some books like The Catcher in the Rye and Wuthering Heights may not be as explicit about what the conflict is, at least they always give you some indication of how long the plot is going to last. So in The Catcher in the Rye, you know that Holden is only telling you about the events of one night, whereas in Wuthering Heights you're waiting for the narrator to get back to the time at which he is telling the story. I do remember at least two books where you couldn't get a proper feel for what the story was going to be about, which was very frustrating. The first book was Disclosure by Michael Crichton. After having read 3 other of his books about dinosaurs, time travel and alien spaceships, I just wasn't expecting Disclosure to be about a lawsuit. The second book for which I had a similar experience was Schools Out by Christophe Devassay, which is a book that I'm probably going to review very soon. So this is what I want from the author. I want it to be clear within the first few chapters what I can expect from the book. And I refuse to read the back cover because that's cheating. Now, if you've followed me thus far, you may have 2 objections against this reading method of mine. If I don't read the back covers, how do I know that I'm going to like a book? I could be cheap and just say that ideally one should be able to enjoy any book, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you 2 proper replies to this question. First of all, most of what you actually need to know about a book can be found in the title, the author, and the cover illustration. From those you can usually infer what genre the book is going to be, and that is usually sufficient to deduce whether that is a book that would potentially be something you would like. For example, the book that I'm holding in my right hand is clearly gothic, science fiction, romance, horror, fantasy, and a mathematical textbook. That being said, there will be times when the cover of the books don't tell you anything. I agree with that. And that's why I have come up with a second trick for figuring out whether you would like a book. When I'm in a bookshop looking for a book for me, I will read the back covers, and then if I find something that I find particularly exhilarating, I will buy it. And when I come home, I then place it on my bookshelf and forget all about it. Because you see, I have so many books waiting that I want to read that it can easily take a year between the time when I buy a book and when I actually get round to reading it. So by that time, I will have forgotten everything the book was about, and the only thing left will be the feeling that that particular book was one that I thought I would enjoy when I bought it. And that is how I read my books. I'm not here to criticise the way you, the viewer, read your books. I just want to present my case. If you disagree with me, you can tell me how wrong I am in the comments and keep reading your books and watching your films in your own preferred way. But I would be pleased if you tried, just once, to read a book from the beginning.